You've got mail.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. If you're wondering, I'm sort of over the War of the Worlds review that I saw yesterday, and yes, that's Dottie again. But yeah, any case, if you read the title, I'm reviewing You've Got Mail. This is directed by Nora Ephron. This is written by Mikolos Laszlo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who actually did a movie or play. I think if I'm getting this right, The Shop Around the Corner. That was the original. It might also be based on a book. I'm not sure. I didn't really do a ton of researching. It also was written by Nora Ephron and Delia Ephron, I guess, and sister. Um, Nora Ephron, you might remember her work as Sleepless in Seattle and Julia, and her sister Delia Ephron also did this movie and also did Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Those are the ones I know or remember. But in any case, we have a cast: Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, Parker Posey, Greg Kinnear, Steve Zahn, and Dave Chappelle. Um, this was, I think, I don't remember, but this is probably one of the first, if not the first, rom com I've seen in theaters, and this was when I was a kid. I roughly 9 years old. Um, so, um, but yeah, I didn't know what I was going to get into. I think my folks wanted to see it at one point, or one of them. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but I remember seeing this in theaters, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It's was always on my mind. I think it was, but yeah, so, but yeah, I think that around the time that was my first exposure to a rom com. But again, I'm not 100% certain about that. I mean, granted, as a kid, I was more into the cartoons, Toy Story, even, not too many of the live action movies, unless cartoons are worked into them, like Space Jam, for example. But no, but in this case, yeah, I did see this before. I have seen it a couple more times, and I rewatched it again recently, and here's my review. Well, the story is this time is that we have Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan's character. We have Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly, who talk online to each other, but they don't know that they don't know each other. They have to leave out specifics because um, specifics, but in general, they have some commonality. They're both in a relationship, so that's kind of why they keep things a bit more hidden. And they're also book owners, except the difference is Kathleen Kelly's a owner of a small children's bookstore versus Joe Fox, who is a you know the who owns a conglomerate type of bookstore called Fox and Sons Books. So a multi-million-dollar business, um, and whatever. So the guys in the suit, the Walmart versus you know any other small business store, and because of that, um, they they're kind of at war. Not all not a It's not a crazy war or whatever, but it you know little shops trying to stay in business. Joe Fox and Sons also is basically threatening that business overall. But the main thing story is that they don't focus. While they do focus on that, they try to focus on the fact that these are charming, likable characters. And yes, I'm giving away. I do really enjoy this movie. They are charming characters, likable characters. Even Joe Fox, who at times isn't very likable, um, does still ooze a lot of likability, charm. And maybe that's just because of Tom Hanks. Maybe this is also because I watched this in theaters, so I have more nostalgic. No, no, sorry, excuse me, nostalgia for it. So I think that's, maybe that's why I'm giving it a pass, and on that. But yeah, there's still a lot. There's still plenty to like. I think Tom Hanks especially doesn't do any wrong whenever he's cast into a movie, though that may be different for others that he's been in. Meg Ryan is great. I'm I haven't heard much about her. I know she left the movie business a long time ago, but she still does a fantastic job in this. I think she wasn't with Harry Met Sally, so but yeah. So I think they're great. The side characters are great. I mean, you got Dave Chappelle, somebody you didn't expect to be in something like a rom com. But it works. I think he's a good character, even though it's not a big role. The other characters, Steve Zahn, Parker Posey, Greg Kinnear, are also great. They don't have quite a major role, except for instances in their partners' lives, um, but they're still memorable. Most for some of it, you do remember them at least. And you know yeah, you know what, it's this is hard because because I may like reviewing movies, but there's certain movies that are kind of hard to tackle because because it's like one thing, and I do have a hard time describing like certain characters, how their manners and whatnot. So um but I really do like the characters. You know Overall, I like the look of New York, especially in 1998. It even has a moment during Christmas, which I always love seeing New York during Christmas because I haven't been to New York, but whenever I see any film or TV that focuses on New York and has Christmas in it, it's like I want to go over there for Christmas because that would be kind of cool. Um, so um, I will say that because because I watched this by myself, though the comedy, while there are moments it does get me to chuckle a bit, and there are memorable moments. Like there's a kid who likes to spell a certain word, which I won't ruin it here for comedic purposes, but it's memorable. Um, that's another hard thing to talk about, is just talk about comedy, because it's, you don't want to ruin comedy, but you want to talk about it. So I mean, that's always a hard thing, um, without spoiling anything. And but the other thing is, the other thing that might be is kind of an issue, is that because I'm watching this by myself, the comedy is not strong. This is also a 2-hour movie, and I mean, for a first time, you're kind of okay with it. Um, but I don't know. I think I've seen this several times, or many times, and while I still enjoy my favorite, it's not one I go back to that often, because this is one I would say you have to see it with somebody, whether it's a friend, whether it's with your family, or significant other or partner, because I think that's the best way to view this movie. Because there's not a ton of story involved. Um, it's it relies mostly on the characters, and the and the setup of it. So I because of that, that's why it's best to see this with others, because then you can get some good laughs. Enjoy the characters, and overall. And I'm not saying there isn't any story, or it's not deep or complex. It certainly can be. The writing, especially, does make it, interesting. Many moments where they're talking about The Godfather as being an important movie, and you know, I'm for one, I remember having seen The Godfather, and I seen The Godfather before, and unfortunately, I fell asleep through it. So yeah, it's like Peter Griffin saying it insists upon itself. It's like, you know, whatever. I'm getting off topic, but you get the idea. So yeah, it does drag. It does drag, especially I think when I as I'm seeing it now, it does feel like it drags. That I even had to pull out my phone a couple times because I was like I don't know. I mean, I've seen it, so it's like I'm trying to pay attention to the movie, but it's like I'm also know that this is where it's kind of going, and it did feel like it dragged. It's like kind of get to the point of already. Um, but I don't fault the movie. I think I just fault the situation that I'm in, that I am sitting, I'm watching it by myself. The comedy won't be as strong because the story is there and it's strong, yet it's not strong enough to fully kind of carry the movie all the way forward. So that's why I think it's often best if you haven't seen it or you have seen it and want to watch it before and want to see it again. It's best to watch it with another person, or more than one person if you want, because I think that's the best way to get much out of this movie and see the charm. So, um, but yeah, overall, I'm gonna give. That's a hard part because I remember this movie so well. I would give this 5 stars. As of now, I kind of want to give it 4.5 overall because I still really enjoy it. But then I'm also thinking, I think 4.5 is doable. Um, if if I'm thinking if I'm seeing it with the right person or family or whatever, I think this is about 4.5. As by myself, it's a 4 because it does feel like it drags quite a bit. So it's kind of hard to really get invested. I don't know. I know this is kind of all over the place, but I got to take in every situation. So I'm going to say 4.5 if I'm going to be generous. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Leave in the comments below. Like or dislike the review, and if you want. And feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next review.